I will probably say this in every video this month, but Project 2025, if implemented, poses a very real danger to many of us in the book community, including myself. So if you enjoy my content and you don't want me to end up in prison, or at the very least have to probably delete this channel, please consider voting blue in the election. Hello everyone, my name is Roya, and today I'm coming to you with the books that I read in the latter half of September. I had a really good reading month, and I'm really excited to share these books with you. So firstly, we have Dark Mirror by Juliette Marillier. This is an Irish historical fantasy, as most of her books are, and I really love her books normally, but I feel like this one was really slow comparatively. There were some really good parts in it where I kind of felt for the main characters and I wanted to see like what happened to them and all of that, but for the most part, this one was really dry in a way that I'm not really used to seeing from Juliette Marillier. So anyway, I still really liked it, and I started reading the second book already, and that one's already shaping up to be a lot better. I think this one was just really, I don't know, setting up everything for the rest of the series. I don't know. Otherwhere Post by Emily J. Taylor. This was sent to me by Penguin Teen, so thank you so much to Penguin Teen for sending this my way. This is about a girl whose father was supposedly responsible for unleashing something that ended up killing basically everyone in an entire town, and she has had to live with that and live under various false names and all of that because of that. And then one day she gets a very delayed letter that says that he was innocent. She doesn't know who sent the letter, so she has to sneak her way into the Otherwhere Post, which is where the letter came from. It's kind of a magical way of sending letters and all of that. And so I thought this was a good, interesting and unique book in that the magic system was certainly different. However, I just felt like this book was not thought out very well. There was a lot of suspension of disbelief to contend with. For instance, a lot of the information that we get, for instance, we don't really know the nature of what it was that happened that her father was supposedly thought to be responsible for until a lot later in the book. We just don't really get those details. And a lot of stuff is also just not really explained, like the fact that her father was living at the Otherwhere Post at the time that it happened, but she was already born at that time, so like she was already like an older child and everything, so it's kind of like a lot of stuff about the timeline and just what happened just really did not add up. The Tyranny of Faith by Richard Swan. This is the second book in the Empire of the Wolf series, the first one being Justice of Kings. This one I definitely thought blew that one out of the water. I think that this one just had a much more compelling storyline. However, the main character is still really bland. I thought I really had an issue with her in the first book just being kind of bland and having no real motivation for anything at all, and I still felt a lot the same in this one. It just wasn't quite as bad, but I did find the story of this one so much more enjoyable now that we're getting a lot more into the world and all of that in this one. So I ultimately really enjoyed this book. Adrift and Currents Clean and Clear by Sean McGuire. This comes out in January. This is the eighth book in the Wayward Children series, I believe, and this follows a girl who has one arm, and she's adopted by a couple who is just trying to look like good people by adopting a disabled child, basically, and they're giving her like a prosthetic arm that she doesn't want because it's just too bulky. It's not like she just has a working arm. It's mostly just something that she has to carry around and that just gets in her way a lot more than it actually helps, and it's like all itchy and stuff, but she's like made to wear it because they're just trying to like basically do this whole performative thing by like looking like good people and all of that. And so she escapes into a world where there are turtles and there are people who live in the water, and she grows up there, has a life there, gets married, everything. She builds a whole career for herself, saving people and all of that, and then unexpectedly she ends up back in her own world, which is this one supposedly. So the idea of this entire series is that it follows a boarding school for kids who have been to other worlds and then come back and miss those other worlds. But every other book in the series follows the story of how one of the characters went to another world and their whole backstory on that. So the character we get in this one is one we have seen in the rest of the books, but she's been fairly minor to the overarching story thus far. But so yeah, this was a really good story in that it was also really gut wrenching when she ends up back in her world and with no way to get back to the world that she actually liked. I really think that this series does a very good job of that, of making us feel really bad for the kids who just wanted to go back to their world, the world that they actually like went to that was magical and all of that. But I thought that this one was particularly gut wrenching in its making her go back to this world. I felt really sad when I got to that part. It was great. The Invocations by Crystal Sutherland. This was a really, really gripping book about three girls who are trying to find out who is killing women who have all gotten invocations from this one girl, from the same girl. And so an invocation in this book is basically a pact with a demon that gets tattooed on your skin. So people can, for example, like ask a demon for something in particular, and the person who gets you the invocation just like knows how to kind of do that to tie the demon to you and all of that. So if that makes sense. So I thought this was so gripping. This was absolutely insane. I kept wanting to read and find out what happens to these characters. And not only that, but it had so many good parallels as to kind of, there are witch hunters who are killing these women to save them, which sounds so stupid, but it's literally what conservatives are doing. Just in the world. This was definitely one of my favorite reads of the year so far. So anyway, those are the books that I read in the latter half of September. Let me know what your thoughts are if you've read any of these books, and I will see you very soon with a new video.